All right, let's talk about something that drives every single trader crazy. You have this brilliant strategy, it's well designed, it makes perfect sense, and then all of a sudden, it just starts bleeding money. Well, the reason why is often completely overlooked, and the solution? It might just surprise you.
Man, this line just hits so perfectly, right? You spend all this time, maybe weeks, crafting a strategy. It looks beautiful, the backtest is a dream, but then you launch it into the live market, that hostile water, and it just sinks. So what's going on?
I mean, come on, we've all been there, haven't we? You did all the work, the logic is totally sound, it's following every single rule you programmed, and yet it's still losing. It's that kind of frustration that makes you want to throw your entire approach out the window.
Okay, but here's the big idea, the thing we miss all the time. We immediately start blaming the strategy. We tweak the entry signals, we mess with the stop losses, but what if the strategy itself is actually perfectly fine? What if the real culprit is a total mismatch between your strategy and what the market is actually doing?
So that leads us to this really simple but honestly powerful idea. You might just be using the wrong tool at the wrong time. And when you think about it this way, it completely changes how you diagnose what's going wrong.
This analogy just makes it all click. Think about it. Is a winter coat a bad piece of clothing? Of course not. It's fantastic if you're in a blizzard. But try wearing that same coat to the beach in the middle of summer. It's worse than useless, right? The problem isn't the coat, it's the context. The tool is great, but the environment is all wrong.
And boom, that's exactly what's happening in our trading. Your strategy is a specialized tool. It was designed for a very specific type of market weather. So when you try to use it in the wrong conditions, it's not the tool's fault that it fails. You've just misplaced it.
So let's make this super concrete. A breakout strategy, that's your winter coat. It needs a powerful, trending market with momentum to work. But a mean reversion strategy, that's your beachwear. It absolutely loves it when the market is just chopping back and forth in a tight range. Trying to use one in the other's weather is pretty much a guaranteed way to lose money.
Okay, so if the whole key is matching the tool to the weather, how in the world do we actually read the market's weather? Well, this is where a concept called market structure comes into play.
Now, market structure sounds kind of complicated, but it's really just a fancy term for describing the market's personality at any given moment. And here's a really crucial distinction. We are not trying to predict the future. All we're doing is describing how the market is behaving right now, based on three key things: trend, volatility, and liquidity.
So let's just break that down really quick. First, is the market moving decisively in one direction? Is it trending? Or is it just stuck going sideways? Second, is it making big, fast moves, high volatility? Or is it kind of quiet and slow? And finally, is there a lot of trading going on? Is it a liquid session? Or is it a thin, overnight market? These three variables define the entire environment.
And this is where it all comes together beautifully. When you combine a trending market with high volatility, bingo, you've got perfect conditions for a breakout strategy. But when the market is ranging with low volatility, well, that's the ideal playground for a mean reversion approach. And hey, pay attention to that top right box. A ranging market with high volatility is often just choppy and dangerous for almost any strategy.
And listen, this isn't just some high-level theory. Market structure gets right down into the nitty-gritty of your actual trading. In those thin, volatile markets, what happens? Your spreads get wider, you get way more slippage, and just getting a decent fill becomes a battle. So your execution itself becomes a victim of the environment.
Okay, so we get the problem, we know how to define the environment. Now what? Now we get to the solution. And it's all about consciously, systematically aligning your strategy with the market structure.
This right here. This is the single most important takeaway. The path to consistency isn't about finding some holy grail strategy that works all the time, because that doesn't exist. It's about having a good strategy and knowing when to use it, and, just as importantly, knowing when to keep it on the shelf.
The great news is, you don't have to just guess what the weather is. There are objective tools you can use to measure it. For trend strength, something like the ADX indicator is pretty common. And for volatility, you can use ATR percentiles to see if the market's movements are way higher or lower than usual. Think of these as your own personal market weather gauges.
So let's turn this into an actual practical habit. I really like this idea of gatekeeping, where you become the strict gatekeeper for your own strategy. You only let it trade when the conditions are absolutely perfect for it.
And here's a simple four-step process. First, always measure the environment before you even think about placing a trade.
Second, go back and analyze your strategy's past performance, but split it up by these different regimes. Third, based on that analysis, you add a simple filter. And fourth, and this one is huge, define a neutral weight zone where you just admit the conditions aren't great and either stay out or trade much smaller.
Seriously, this second step is a total game changer. You have to stop looking at one single blended equity curve. It hides the truth, because when you split your results, you'll probably see your strategy performs like a rock star in one regime and is a total disaster in another. That's not a failure. That's incredibly valuable information. It proves your idea works, it just needs a gatekeeper. I just love this final thought from the source material. Your strategy probably isn't broken. It might just be suffocating. Your job as a trader is to find the environment where it can actually thrive, to give it the water it was designed to breathe in. You do that, and you'll finally see its true potential.
And really, that's the question I want to leave you with. The next time you're about to scrap a failed strategy, just stop and ask yourself, is this thing actually broken, or is it just waiting for the right weather? Answering that one question honestly might just change your entire approach to the markets. Hope this was helpful.